Good morning, beautiful, wonderful collective. This is City and Jacqueline Lane, G-Box Tarot, coming at you live. I woke up like this. Okay, so Bob Marley's on the playlist today, but there's also some 80s music that's coming through, obviously. And I can change, I can change, I can change. So you can change. So we're going to do some angel messages today, okay? So let's go ahead and get a prayer in before we get started. Divine, most high above all, loving ancestors, crossed over loved ones, crossed over pets, spirit guides, and spirit animal guides. Thank you so much for clearing out my energy, protecting my energy and that of my beautiful, wonderful collective's energy as we give this clear and concise message to those in my beautiful, wonderful collective out there. We bind and cast all money blockages, all lies, slander, and deceit. That especially. Any alienation, separation of your children, and any unequal weights and measures when it comes to the court cases and judicial system. Okay, so the message I'm pulling very heavily right now, collective, is that if you have to be accountable and own up to your shit, so do those that have betrayed you and taken advantage of you as well. Okay, so what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay, not a lot of people that have been in power or have had the upper hand over your life or over the situation that you were going through, collective, want to hear that, or do they want to have to be that, because that may require some charges being involved. You know what I mean? Especially when somebody has stolen your identity, especially somebody within your family or who you considered family or whose family you married into. Okay, collective. So that is coming through very strong and very heavy right now. And the reason why I'm looking so frazzled is because, you know what? No matter how you look, collective, you're still you. And nobody has a right to violate you in the ways that you have been violated, okay? And the hardest part for us, collective, has been what? Forgiveness. Forgiving those that have wronged you, forgiving those and moving on. And it's crazy because in order to transform, you have to forgive, right? Now, I'm not saying forgive these people and just allow them back into your space to just continue to distort your vision or gaslight you or any of that kind of jazz, now that I'm pulling this one, or cause you any sort of anxiety, okay? Because this is your destiny, collective, and what is meant to find you is going to find you, right? Yeah, that's right. So yesterday, when I went to go get some plants, I saw a beautiful Christian lady who's all natural, okay? And First Corinthians, and it says, "Let all that you do be done in love." Now, why is that, collective? Why was that Jesus' message? Because love defeats them. Love defeats them. Love defeats the dark. The light always outshines the dark, right? Yeah, it does. So if you want to overcome this betrayal, if you want to overcome this trauma, the best gift that we can give ourselves is the gift of forgiving ourselves for allowing it or not being aware of it when it happened, okay? Or if you're like me, you gave up your power when you should have stood your ground. All right. Or maybe you're like some of my collective out there that, you didn't even know what the hell was going on to even do anything about. You just woke up one day and realized that you were being slandered and attacked and by those that confirmation, by those that were supposed to love and protect you and have your back, right? And that you thought. And nothing can be further from your family. What does Jesus say? A prophet is never welcomed in their own hometown. Okay. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what these angel cards say. Okay. So when I pulled first was vision. All right. A positive outcome requires a positive vision. Visualize everyone involved in your what I said. Come through, spirit. Visualize everyone involved in your present situation, surrounded by light and love. Okay. We want change and transformation, correct? For everybody involved. Doesn't mean that you have to have everybody that's ever fucked you over back into your life, but you do want the best outcome for everybody because it's your intention that you send out into the universe that gives you the best possible outcome for yourself. no matter what that may be, okay? Because we all got some dirt in our past. It doesn't matter what it is, really, or maybe it does. Some of it's worse than others, and we all are under the judgment of law, okay? Make sure to include yourself also. Your love has the power to influence and transform the current events. Like I said, love defeats it. Anger, bitterness, resentment, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, or saith the universe, okay? Anxiety, we surround you with the healing light of amethyst. I carry a piece of amethyst in my wallet. Take a deep breath and breathe in this beautiful violet light. Not violent, violet. Purple is the color of royalty, okay? Feel your anxiety melting away. There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Okay, I'm back, collective. So, breakfast is a very important meal of the day, even if it's brunch. Okay, guys? All right, so the next card that I have is anxiety. We surround you with the healing light of amethyst. Again, we've got amethyst. I feel like, collective, that whatever stone that you need to have and be carrying around with you is going to be an amethyst stone, okay? And for some of you that don't know what that is, let me show you what it is, okay? Because I carry one on my wallet, protects me and my money, because my money has been heavily attacked. So this is an amethyst. Can you see that clearly? It's a very beautiful purple stone. This is a raw piece of amethyst. Now you can get some on like Temu. I'm not trying to promote anybody's. Let's just say you can go online and find you a piece of amethyst, a genuine piece. I like Shaman's Market. Okay. So hopefully this don't get copyrighted because I mentioned Shaman's Market. But anyway, you get the ganders, you get the gist, you get the gist, right? All right. So anxiety. You may be having a lot of anxiety. So take a deep breath and breathe in this beautiful violet light. Feel your anxiety melting away. There is nothing to fear. There is only love. Again, we are reinforcing. Do things, but do things in love. Okay, love yourself. Self-love is the most important, because if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else, right? Destiny. Your destiny is to blossom, to shine, to transform in an ever greater light. Okay, so collective, I feel like you are the light. You are of the light. And that doesn't mean that anybody... Now, like when I say this, I don't say this lightly, but I don't take this out of context, okay? The light and the dark work together to form the balance. Because, without the good or the bad, there is no balance, okay? So when I say this, there's different degrees on the spectrum of good and bad, okay? Where you stand, where I stand, that just depends on your perception and your interpretation, and how you feel about the universe and the laws that it encompasses, okay? Not all dark is super bad and not all light is super good. Does that make any sense? We don't want extremes is the message I'm trying to put forth here. So a lot of you that may be watching me, and if you are new watching me here today on Jukebox Tarot, welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a lot of grays out there, and that might be like an alien term, the grays, but a lot of us are in the gray. Like, we have the tendencies, we can go either way, right? We can be either good or we can be either bad. But a lot of us make our choice to choose to stay in the light. A lot of us choose to stay in the dark. How far in the dark you want to go depends on the person, okay? That's the human free will and choice, okay, right? And unfortunately, there are a lot of humans out there that like to dive off in the deep end of the dark. And there is a lot of people that like to dive off in the deep end of the light. And those people who actually get, snatched up into heaven without even having to die. You know what I mean? So I'm not that person. I'm a little bit in the middle, okay? Because in order to appreciate the light, you have to have known some of the dark. And what I mean by that, collective, is that you had to have indulged in doing some dark shit. I'm not saying you're diving into spell work and all that jazz, but I don't think there is a chosen one out there that has not battled with addiction, whether that be to food, porn, gossiping, drugs, illicit drugs. They have a Sunday, they have an addiction to being in the sun, and now they are leathered and they have melanoma. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you can be addicted to, collective. I'm going to say all of the chosen, the 144,000, which I feel like for those of you that are resonating with what I'm saying and are watching me here today, whoever I'm speaking to right now that this is resonating with, you are part of the 144,000. You are the selected by your ancestors to represent your bloodline. You are standing at the front of the line in this era, on this timeline, to represent your bloodline, okay? And this is where you're going to learn some legal wisdom. So I don't know if you are planning on making a career out of the being in the getting into the legal system. It may benefit you because a lot of this things that transpire in the world today do require knowledge of the law, and I'm talking about like international law, possibly. You don't even have to be from the United States to understand what I'm saying. Okay, you may need to, because I feel like collective with a lot of you that watch me, like I say, a lot of the stuff that we do here on Jukebox Tarot has a lot to do with stolen properties from you, stolen inheritance, just somebody posing as you and stealing your identity to get all the benefits that you were entitled to that you may not even know that you were entitled to. It's always good to know the law. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. This is my True Crime Oracles deck. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this. I'm going to see what that has to say because I thought I was going to jump into tarot, but I'm not. I'm going to jump into this Oracle cards, and we're going to pull a few from here because I feel like a lot of you are just now getting your feet or putting your toes, dipping your toes into these legalities, okay, these legal terms, what you can do, how you can file, and what pro se means. Okay, pro se means you can represent yourself, but how do you represent yourself if you don't know what the hell's going on, if you don't know how to represent yourself? So Spirit's wanting me to tell some of you, and I got chills from head to toe right now, you need to start looking into how do you file, say like if somebody stole your inheritance and you don't know what court it's in, how do you file for an asset search? Who do you go to do an asset search? Or maybe you can go a little further if you're a brainiac, you know, and you're an intellect. Like, how do I do an asset search on myself without having to pay somebody $2,000 to do an asset search, okay? And I feel like I'm talking to a lot of brainiacs that watch my channel, so I know that you all are a bunch of intellects, okay? And people may call you crazy, and you may even be being called insane at one point because, you know, your conspiracy theories are not so much of a theory now, they're being proven to be true, okay? Now that's the scary part, right? Because you're like, okay, for those of us who have been like, well, maybe I was crazy, or maybe I am crazy. No, baby, you ain't crazy, honey. You are on point, baby. Your intuition's on point, and Spirit was giving you downloads long before it came into fruition, long before it became fact in the media or, you know, just in your immediate surroundings, right? That being said, the clarity of purpose come through Spirit. Okay, Spirit is on point right now, y'all. I don't know. I'm telling you, like, there's some days where you really have to like get into Spirit, and then there's days when Spirit is just into you. You know what I mean? Okay, so it says approach your challenges with a detective's mindset. Approach your challenges with a detective's mindset. Break down complex situations into smaller parts and methodically analyze each element. Stay focused on uncovering the core issues. Okay, so, you know, when we say compartmentalize, all right, it might be good to compartmentalize like whatever your case may be. So, you know, as with any kind of theft, you want to follow the money, right? Because the money is the purpose and the motive that has driven these people that have stolen your identity, or these family members that have chosen to betray you for the almighty dollar, okay? I don't know why. Hello. Anyways. Okay. Be goofy. Be yourself. You know, don't, you know I get on TikTok and I use a lot of filters and stuff because I like to use the mask, and everybody likes to stay in those masks. But you know what? I'll come out, no makeup, hair all crazy, just straight up, this is me in the raw elements, okay? It's just me in the raw elements. So you know what? To have that confidence and the diversity to be able to do that, that is the most important thing, collective. So there's transparency there, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the message that's coming through from Spirit by me using that example. Be transparent, okay? The hidden message. Now, this came out in the reverse, so I feel like there's a hidden message somewhere that you haven't discovered yet, or somebody's trying to keep you from discovering. But let's go ahead and read the meaning of it. All right, we're 15 minutes in. Okay. Somebody may have a thing with only being able to use numbers and even numbers and increments of 5 OCD. I don't know if that's you, but that's speaking to someone. Okay. Look for messages that are not immediately apparent. Analyze communication for underlying meanings or subtext. Discovering hidden messages can provide valuable insights. And since it came out in the reverse, I feel like you have something that's in your messages or your emails that's in plain sight that you're not seeing yet. Okay, there's a hidden message in all your emails. I'm hearing emails strongly right now. So I feel like, collective, you really need to check your emails. Okay, and I know a lot of you get overload of spam. I mean, for some of you out there, like because we use Google a lot, right? A lot of our Gmail is already bogged down, and it's getting full to where we have to get the, what is it called, the Google One or some shit like that, where you have to buy more storage in order so your emails don't stop working. Okay, so okay, Spirit, what do they need to put into, oh, I got chills right now. This is a very important part of this message. Okay, what does my collective need to put into their search query, into their emails, in order to discover this hidden message that you're trying to bring through? Okay. Do you see the gun? Wow. Analyze situations with precision and detail. Use logical reasoning to dissect and understand complex scenarios. Apply a forensic approach to uncover all relevant facts. Okay, me just saying that, and I seen the gun. So I don't know if you need to put weapon, gun, or maybe soldier, military, possibly. Now, I was pulling that in the last read, guys. Remember, collective, I told you there were some of you that are missing out on some military benefits because somebody's trying to take that from you. Okay, so now look, this one's turned around. The pursuit of truth, the legal enigma. Okay, so this is going to be pivotal. Navigate complex legal situations with caution. Seek advice from knowledgeable sources and understand your rights and responsibilities. Legal matters require careful consideration and expertise. This is telling me that you may have had a lawyer reach out to you in your email somewhere, okay? I'm hearing, what word did we put in our search bar? Dude, I am covered in chills from head to toe. Like, this is very specific for somebody. For maybe all of you. Maybe you need to put in legal. Or maybe even sources. Consideration. You know, thank you so much for your time and consideration in this matter. I just heard. So in your search query in your Gmail, if you're bogged down and you know, like your emails are like taking up a lot of the space and it's causing you to have to erase stuff, that I don't want you to erase anything, collective. Okay, you're gonna have to go through and get you an SD card that has a lot of gigabytes and switch all that shit over to your SD card. Okay, because I really strongly feel like there's something within your emails that was sent to you that was meant, that you were meant to overlook, because they had to send it to your email. Because I feel like for some of you, collective, you have maintained the same phone number, the same email for years. So it's going to be on your credit history, okay? Your credit report. So these people, or this legal person, had to send it to the one that email that's on file. They may have changed it since then, but I feel like it's still going to show up. This may be one that you got locked out of years ago that you cannot get back into, okay? Because they hijacked it, all right? But it's one of the first ones that you created. I'm hearing like your last name is going to be first and your first name is going to be last in this email, at Gmail or at Yahoo, okay? It's one of your first emails that you got from years back, that this legal team, or these attorneys, these dirty attorneys, was sending this information that you needed to have in order to know that you had a court date or an inheritance or some sort of settlement that came in, that they had to send it to this specific email. But since you never got it because somebody hijacked it, and this is where I think your poser is coming in. They posed as you by receiving this email, and because it went to a known email that's associated with your name and your credit report, that you can validate that, yeah, I did make that email up years ago, but it got hijacked, okay? There's something to do with weapons. There could be a gunsmith involved. Maybe your gun rights were reinstated, or maybe, if for some of you, not everybody, but some of you maybe have become a felon over time, and you're something to do with the weapon. They try to maybe get you hemmed up on, or maybe, almost wanted to choke on this part. somebody that is doing this to you is a felon that has a gun charge, okay, that is trying to pose as you, and maybe you don't have any felony charges, so you're able to have your gun rights. That is going to be very specific, okay? And I'm going to leave it right there because we're already 20 minutes in. This is Sadina here at G-Box Tarot, coming at you live. Get you some, babes.